to Folklore Unlocked. I'm Austin, and I'm joined by Ethan.
Hello again, everyone.
And this week, Harry Potter fans, you're in for a treat because we're covering witches and wizards.
I'd say it's not only like just Harry Potter fans; it's just Magic fans in general. Because we talk about some other warlocks and everything like that in here. So, okay, so the names of these are kind of like gender based. So female users are usually called witches, but then again, in some media and fantasy, they are called wizards too. And then males are usually called either wizards or warlocks, depending on. So it's a little bit of here and there.
And the term witchcraft is linked with magic that is typically used to harm or cause misfortune onto others. And anthropologists have applied the term to similar beliefs in different cultures, with the concept and belief of witchcraft being recorded throughout history. And and witchcraft comes from Wickecraft, which in which Wick means witch and craft meant, well, craft, and Wicca meant male sorcerer. So, like Ethan said, the exact terminology just kind of was gender based. And some beliefs is that the Gaels of Ireland believed in fairy folk, which lessened the witch hunts, at least in Ireland. And kind folk or wise people were kind of these anti witches, will use protective or counter magic to protect people from the dark magic. And in medieval and early modern Europe, women were the most commonly accused of being witches because, well, reasons. I think if you know anything about that time period in Europe, you'll not know exactly the reasons.
Okay, so like we were saying there, if you know about what was happening at that time, it was the Salem witch trials, and they were mostly, like you'd think, is held in Salem, Salem Village, Danvers, and also Andover and Topsfield and Massachusetts. And also Betty Paris, Abigail Williams, Ann Pittman, and Elizabeth Hubbard were accused. Sarah Osborne, and oh my gosh, I cannot say that.
Tituba.
Tituba. Okay, I was gonna say I looked at that. I'm like, no, no, I can't say it. But yeah, they were just accusing people of witches, and usually they would use like drownings and burnings and whatnot to like end them. And some of the reasons of being accused, Sarah Good was accused because of her reputation and was destitute and was accused at trial of rejecting Puritan ideas. Sarah Osborne was accused for having her own self interest after marrying an indentured servant, and others disapproved of her trying to control her son's inheritance from her previous marriage, and she rarely attended church. Tituba was enslaved Chilean woman from the West Indies who was likely targeted due to racism, and Dorothy Good, Sarah Good's daughter, was also accused because of her mother being accused. So I don't think most of these are like real good reasons why that the Salem witch trials were like a very bad time.
And I'm going to mention Dorothy Good was only 4 years old when she was accused.
4?
Yes,
Jeez.
4.
Okay, yeah, mom's a witch, daughter's got to be a witch. Definitely what they would probably think, but that's terrible.
And good old 1600s thinking.
Oh, I know, right?
Oh, well, let's accuse, the slave of being a witch.
Mm.
Well, like she hasn't already got bad enough. Well, let's just say she's a witch too.
Yeah, why not? Why not be everyone a witch? Just everyone. And the aftermath of the Salem witch trials and stuff like that, where 200 people were accused and 30 people killed. I'm kind of surprised there's only 30, considering how much I'd heard of it. But 19 were hung, with 14 being women and 5 being men. And at least 5 died in jail, and another until torture. And outside of the Salem witch trials, only 16 people were executed in Massachusetts and Connecticut combined. So it's whenever you hear about it, it seems like it's a bigger thing than like it's that's still too many, but it's not as big as I assumed it was originally.
But think about it. Just, if you take out, if like, 46 people were executed in Massachusetts and Connecticut, you take out the Salem witch trials, yeah, it goes down to 16. Like, people, you need to calm down.
Mm-hmm.
And some theories behind what caused the witch hunt is a case of mass hysteria, ergotism caused from rye bread infected by the fungus Claviceps purpurea, from which LSD is derived, an epidemic of encephalitis lethargica, which is a bird-borne virus, good old sleep paralysis, or a need for attention.
I would have never even thought about like bread being infected with stuff like that, like where LSD is deprived. That would actually make a lot of sense now that I'm thinking about it.
It's like case of mass hysteria,
Yeah, yeah. That's about like a
which is,
wasn't there like a dancing epidemic that happened? I forgot how long ago it was. That people would just dance till they died.
yeah, it was about the same time.
Yeah, and that was like considered mass hysteria too, I think. Oh my gosh.
Sleep paralysis, which is uh, quite prevalent today, apparently.
I've only had it happen to me one time, and it was terrifying. Just the ability not to move and like something's there, like in the dark or behind you or something you can't do anything is it was terrifying.
And then the need for attention, like the original accusers were kids. So, yeah.
The kids were accusing people?
Yeah, the Betty Paris, Abigail Williams, Ann Pittman, and Elizabeth Hubbard were all kids when they accused Sarah Good, Sarah Osborne, and Tituba.
Wow. Okay.
And then I'm not sure what encephalitis lethargica is besides the bird-borne virus.
Mm.
But when you tell me that the fungus that LSD is derived from, that becomes hysterical.
Well, it kind of is because like it makes a lot of sense, but then again, it's like still very sad about people died because it could have been because of that. I mean, part of it. So, oh,
But that is just hilarious that people think like LSD is somehow tied into this.
mm-hmm.
Shame that people died because of it, but
Yeah, that's my main thing. Is like it's a shame.
and some famous witches and wizards are the Lady of the Lake, Merlin, and Morgan Le Fay from the Legends of King Arthur, Jafar from Aladdin, Marie Laveau, and anybody who's a witch or wizard in the Harry Potter universe. Say if we named everybody from the Harry Potter universe, we'd be here all day. And frankly, we don't have that kind of time on our hands.
Now, Aladdin is one of my favorite Disney movies I've watched, and like even though Jafar's might not be my favorite villain, I just like I liked watching that, and I love the King Arthur stuff, so all that stuff is like right up my alley.
And then for people who may not know who Marie Laveau is, her name can be spelled like how it is if you're watching on YouTube with an X on the end, but some other spellings don't have the X on the end. And she was a Louisiana Creole practitioner, a voodoo herbalist, and midwife. And she is said to have cured people of diseases. And some people claim to have seen her ghost after her death. So another ghost sighting and something about witches and wizards.
There's always weird stuff happening in Louisiana all the time. Whenever I went to,
It,
what?
it's always like a Louisiana or Florida.
Uh-huh. I'd say when I went down to Louisiana, like there's voodoo shops everywhere. Like everywhere you looked, there was at least something to do with voodoo, and I'm like, I didn't know it was that big of a thing before coming down here.
And Marie was also known as the Voodoo Queen of New Orleans. And unsurprisingly, her daughter, also named Marie Laveau, was a practitioner of voodoo. And Marie's life and her have been adapted into many shows and songs and characters, including a song called Marie Laveau by Bobby Bear, which I think was recorded in the 1960s, which is a good song. So those who haven't heard of it, go look it up.
I,
Probably one of the few song recommendations you'll hear on this show.
I might have to. I haven't heard it, so I might have to look it up after this.
And our thoughts is that mine, I don't think magic exists in the way people believed when stories of witches and wizards were prevalent. And it was just them trying to explain something they didn't yet understand, or they just wanted to get rid of people they didn't like. Simple as that. They probably just didn't understand what they were seeing, and it was like, gotta be magic. Who's the witch?
Yeah, I'm the same with Austin there. I don't really believe in magic is real, but I do like the idea of magic. So I do like reading like fantasy books and stuff like that, or watching anime that has like magic and fantasy in it. And I do like the idea of it. But I also have a couple quotes here that kind of explain what I think about magic. And both of them are Arthur C. Clarke. But magic is just science that we don't understand yet. Is like everything can be explained through science as long as you like research it and look at it in a certain light. And also, there's another one that any sufficient advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So if you look at something that's like, oh, there's no way we could do that ever in our lifetime or something like that, it's got to be magic. And it's like, no, if we give us like 100 years or maybe a decade, I don't know how long, We might be able to eventually do that, and we'll be like, oh, those people were stupid because they thought it was magic.
Yeah,
So
key word in that phrasing in our lifetime.
yeah, that's the thing because like there's a lot of stuff that we would think, oh, that'd be impossible. Like I would think holograms. Okay, holograms seem like a really like outlandish thing whenever like before they were even made, and then they're made, and it's like, oh, it's actually not that hard to make. I mean, it kind of is. There's a lot of science behind it, but like it's outlandish when you think about it like decades and decades ago.
Exactly. Like magic is real in the sense that it's probably just stuff we don't understand yet.
I wish I had a
It's
good
what,
example, but like holograms is the only thing I can think of right now.
but that's witches and wizards. Next week, I believe we're going to do some werewolves. So we'll see you next week. If Ethan doesn't have any final words,
Notice, thank you for watching, guys.
so thanks for listening on if you're on Spotify. Thanks for watching if you're on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe if you want to, and we'll see you next week.
Yep, bye everyone.